All right. So thank you so much, wonderful community. I am Pam Garcia. I am Chief Travel Planner for Wanderful. And today we are telling you all about the amazing trip that we have scheduled for going to Antarctica in 26 from January 8 to January 19. So before going to, to all the explanation and you to know all the adventure in this amazing place. I want to tell you that we did this trip in 23, and it was such an amazing experience. All the members were like happy with this expedition. And also, we hear like our community was again requesting us to, to again organize this trip as they couldn't go to the last trip. But this time, they were, more concerned about the environment. Like they want to know how we as a travelers are impacting when we travel there, or how the companies are doing to mitigate the effects that this trip implicates when you go there. So that's why we took, a little bit of time to put this trip out, because we want to make sure to provide the right answers to you. We want to really be sure of the company that we were going to choose for this amazing trip. And after a lot of conversations of research as well in companies, so this time we decided to go with Hurtigruten, that had been like very, very supportive in all the information we request. And that's why also we put this time workshop webinar with Hurtigruten, so we can hear from them what they are doing as a company for the environment, and also what are the measures that they take when we go to Antarctica, and how like we as a travelers can contribute in order to preserve this amazing place. And today we have the honor to be with Bob, and Bob is an expedition leader with Hurtigruten, and he has spent 2 decades working as a tour director and adventure tourism professional in countries like China, Malaysia, Panama, Belize, and all through Canada. I really want his job. Like, honestly, I can't stop repeating that. And he joined to HX Expedition in 21 as a member of the expedition team on board. And since joining the company, he has been part of expeditions to Norway, Iceland, Greenland, Alaska, and of course, Antarctica, and other several spectacular destinations. So also he works at the sea and works as a part of the product development team. And I think he's the best person to be today with us and tell us more about, the company and what we can expect in Antarctica in 26. So Bob, I'll pass the mic to you, and please tell us more about Hurtigruten.
All right. Okay, Pam, thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to present our trip here today. So as mentioned, I work on board our ship as part of the expedition team. And I was fortunate enough to do 8 of the Antarctica expeditions this past season. So the photos that I will be sharing in this presentation today are some photos taken by our professional photographers, as well as photos that I took with my personal phone and camera during these expeditions. So the expedition that we're talking about today is our Highlights of Antarctica expedition, which is a 12-day expedition, and very excited to be providing this opportunity to all of your members. So a little bit about our company. We are a Norwegian company from origin, started in 1896 on the Norwegian coast, and basically a ferry service connecting the different coastal communities along the Norwegian coast. We have since also grown in the expedition market, and recently we have rebranded our expedition voyages under the name HX, So Hurtigruten will be our voyages on the Norwegian coast, HX our expedition voyages for Antarctica, Galapagos, and many of the other spectacular destinations that we travel to. So we are made for curious travelers. A big part of our expeditions are engaging the guest on these trips with the destinations we travel to through our science and education program. And that's also has made us the leader in mindful adventure, trying to minimize our impact on the environment, making the places leaving them in a better way than we found them through initiatives like garbage cleanups. And we aim to make our clients ambassadors of the places that we travel to, and provide them with the knowledge to speak about the destinations to other people, and encourage people to be more aware of the things we can do to minimize impacts like climate change and such. So I have a short video right here about
we were born in a time of great change, when Norwegian explorers were changing our view of the world. In 1896, we set out on our great journey, driven by curiosity to sail in the wake of giants, changing our horizons, Norway to all points of the compass, where polar bears roam, penguins dance, and albatrosses float above archipelagos. We changed course, and we changed courses. We changed coats and boats, changing the ways you can discover and learn, the way you can see, feel, and hear the world around you, changing the lives of those who share our journey, with the help of those who have changed ours. We've taken people further and deeper into a world of wonder. And along the way, we changed the way we sail for everyone. But some things will never change. Powered by our curiosity, always exploring, and forever inspired to protect our home. We do all this for one purpose. To change the way you see the world.
Okay, so this was just a brief overview of the company and a quick introduction to our history. So why expedition cruising? We've all heard of the big cruise ships. Some of the bigger ships these days are 6,000 people. Expedition cruising is completely different from that. We operate small ships. Our biggest ships have a capacity of 500 guests. So significantly smaller than the ships people think of when they generally think of cruising. This allows us to go to more remote regions of the world, places that are not visited as frequently, to provide our guests with once-in-a-lifetime experiences. Compared to the big ships where there's a lot of entertainment on board, we've replaced those activities with a emphasis on science and education. So we have a onboard science center. We have an expedition team, which would basically be our equivalent of an entertainment team on the bigger ships. And the expedition team consists of marine scientists, environmental scientists, historians, cultural interpreters, and other experts about the destinations that we travel to. This allows us to provide a more authentic and immersive exploration and experience at these destinations. And as you could see in the video, we engage as much as possible with people at the destinations, giving them an opportunity to showcase their culture and share their culture and traditions with our guests. So then why sail with HX? As seen in the video, we have over 125 years of experience in this industry. Our small expedition ships are purposely built for these kind of expeditions. For Antarctica, our ships have icebreaker qualifications, allowing us to go further remote and in areas where other ships are unable to go. And then like our science center, as mentioned, you'll see that coming back throughout the presentation. It is a very big part of our company and what we stand for as a company. So like in our expeditions, what really stands out is like the natural wonders of the places that we travel to, as well as the culture and community and the science and sustainability. What you see in the photo on the right side right here, this is a Blue Eye underwater research drone. And this is what we use for various citizen science research projects where when you join this trip, you will be able to actually work hands-on with this equipment together with our marine scientists and actively take part in these citizen science research projects. We also regularly host guest scientists on board that basically use our vessel as a research platform, giving them an opportunity to travel to places that would otherwise be very expensive and difficult to access if they had to arrange their own charter vessel. So this way we also contribute to the science community by providing them a platform that they can use to research on. And you will be able to witness this on board the ship as well. So the photo that you see right here is our science center on board the MS Fridtjof Nansen, which is the ship that you will be traveling on. And then right beside this is our lecture hall, where we have a wide variety of lectures taking place. We are the winner of the Cruise Critic Award for the best science offering in the industry, which is something we're very proud of and something that really sets us apart from the other companies out there. Through our science program, we partner with 20 different science organizations around the world. They can be organizations that focus on like phytoplankton, humpback whales, orcas, microplastics, water temperature, like anything like that related to like marine scientists. Organization can reach out to us and we can then like see how we can partner in their research offerings. On board the ship, we have like regular talks throughout the day. There's usually like 3-4 presentations a day from like marine scientists, environmental scientists, historians, cultural interpreters, ornithologists, the photographer, activity guides. They all provide like presentations about their area of expertise to educate you about the destinations that we travel to. And as mentioned, like for the guest scientist program, we annually have over 1,000 nights of complimentary accommodation provided to marine scientists, providing a big help to the science community in that way. So we are the leaders in mindful adventure. In the ESG reports in recent years, we have always had the best ranking of like a cruise line since 2003, 2004. We just got the same award as well. And we are chair members of IATO and IACO, which is the International Association of Antarctic Tour Operators for Antarctica. And then IACO is the counterpart for the Arctic. We've banned the use of heavy fuels on board all of our ships and now rely on biodiesel as well as hybrid technology for both the MS Fridtjof Nansen and MS Roald Amundsen expedition ships. We have also banned all single-use plastics across our fleet. Instead of like single-use water bottles, we provide all of the guests on board with a refillable water bottle. There are water stations on every deck on the ship where you can fill up your water bottle. And then we have actively worked with all of our partners to minimize the waste of plastic on board our ship and eliminate all single-use plastics. The MS Roald Amundsen was the first ever hybrid expedition ship. And very simplified, you can compare it with a Toyota Prius, where the engine will operate at peak performance, meaning that the fuel consumption will be optimized at the engine settings that we use. Any excess power that's generated is stored in 2 large batteries on board the ship. And then whenever we need extra power, if there's like a sudden gust of wind or like a big waves and we need extra power, rather than starting an extra generator, we can pull the extra power from the battery rooms and use that to increase the power output. And this results in a 20% fuel reduction compared to a similar non-hybrid ship. So it's a significant improvement and significant contribution to minimizing our footprint and impact that we have on these areas that we travel to. But sustainability goes further than just like fuel consumption. We also see that we travel to areas where we can contribute, whether it is to support like education or like in remote communities in Arctic Canada, we bring like supplies. For example, recently we were in Argentina and we had hiking poles that started showing some signs and wear and tear on board the ship. They were still like good to use, but they started to show their age. So we replaced them with new hiking poles, and then we donated all of the hiking poles to different youth programs in Argentina to allow them to take children out hiking in the mountains and introduce them to outdoor recreation as well. And then we have implemented a rapid response fund for local communities in 2023, where we can support local communities. And we aim to source as much as possible of our food locally. So like for Antarctica, all of our food is sourced in Argentina, so that we get local provisions there and support the local economy in that way. The same for like the Norwegian coast, for Alaska, and several of the other areas where we operate. So a big part of our operation is the expedition team. And for Antarctica, our expedition team will consist of about 25 expedition team members. As mentioned, like those are the marine scientists, the environmental scientists, historians, all like experts, and they are handpicked for the specific destinations that we travel to. So like for Antarctica, there's people that have been going to Antarctica for like 10, 15 years. There's a number of people in the expedition team that have written various books. We have a woman in the team. She is an ornithologist, and she did a 3-month bird research in Antarctica, where she spends 3 months living in a tent with a team of 6 people and researching the bird population and bird migration along the Antarctic Peninsula. We have people specialized in like the early history of the explorers of the continent, and like a very broad area of expertise. Something that sets us apart from the competition as well is that in the tourism industry in general, it's pretty standard practice that tour companies will use contractors for the actual guiding work. Whereas several years ago, we have opted to hire the majority of our expedition team as permanent employees. So they generally work 6 to 8 weeks on, and then they have 6 to 8 weeks off, and then they return to the ship again. This has a number of benefits. Like people stay a long time with the company. Our like employee loyalty is very high. But at the same time, also like all of the experience that they build up and training that we provide, it stays within the company, which helps us to elevate our product even further and provides us with a high-end product for guests like yourself when you come on these expeditions. So the engagement with local communities is something that's very important for us. We support local communities by sourcing from like small-scale suppliers. Where possible, we work directly with local excursion operators to make sure the money also stays in the economy. In Antarctica, all of the excursions we run ourselves, because there is simply no infrastructure there to use local suppliers. So all of the excursions that we offer in Antarctica are run by the expedition team on board. And then through the Hurtigruten Foundation, as mentioned, we support like local projects in the area that we visit. A lot of them are focused on like early youth education, but also the conservation efforts and like different organizations that aim to preserve the culture of, for example, indigenous communities in Alaska. So we operate 60 unique itineraries with a total of 260 departures. The map you see right here, you can see all of the regions where we operate. Traditionally, we're always known as companies like as a company that operate in the primarily the polar regions. So like Svalbard, the Norwegian archipelago, and then the Northwest Passage, Greenland, Antarctica are destinations that we've been operating for like a long time. More recently, we've added places like Central and South America, Galapagos, and several other destinations. Our trips range in duration from 7 days for our shortest trip in the Galapagos to a 94-day pole-to-pole expedition where guests will embark either in Vancouver and then go up to Alaska through the Northwest Passage and then south all the way to Antarctica, or on the other ship, the Fridtjof Nansen, leaving from Iceland, going to Greenland, Northwest Passage, and then south. And those are 94-day expeditions. But because our ships are purposely built for these expeditions, they provide the perfect balance between the expedition, so like adventure, exploration, and at the same time like onboard comfort and sustainability. So this is the Fridtjof Nansen, the ship that you will be traveling on. It is an expedition ship with a maximum capacity of 500 guests. Usually when we operate in Antarctica, we have between 350 and 430 guests on board, but maximum capacity is 500 if every cabin is a maximum occupancy. And as mentioned, like our commitment to sustainability goes further than just trying to minimize our fuel and banning plastics. If you take a close look at this photo right here, you will notice at the bow right here that there is no anchor dropped in the water. But still, when I took this photo, the vessel was staying in this exact location. And that's because when the ship was designed and built, they implemented a system called dynamic positioning. And this is a system that allows us to keep the ship in the exact position without dropping an anchor. In these sensitive ecosystems, if we would drop an anchor, it would drag on the ocean floor when we like pull the anchor up again, and it would damage the ocean floor in a sensitive ecosystem. It would also generate a lot of noise that could like disturb wildlife. So by using the dynamic positioning, the captain or officers on the bridge, they can program the exact location where they want to keep the ship, and then the ship will automatically keep itself in this exact position by using the bow thrusters, stabilizers, and azipod propellers. So this is again something that we have implemented to minimizing our impact on the environment. It also allows us to quickly reposition the vessel if wind or current directions change and like suddenly like sea ice is moving in. And it also allows us to position the ship in areas where it would otherwise maybe be too deep, where the anchor wouldn't reach the ocean floor. So this gives us a lot of flexibility when we operate in Antarctica and these other remote destinations. So this right here is a case study that shows all of the sustainability features on the ship. I will not go through all of them. I already pointed out the main ones like the hybrid technology, the battery packs on board, the biodiesel that we use, and then the dynamic positioning. Also, all of the drinking water that we use is treated seawater that's treated through reverse osmosis, removing all the salts from the water. And also all of our wastewater on board is treated where it is just as clean as when we took it from the sea when it is returned to the sea again. And then any garbage is solidified on the ship and is then discarded when we return to ports. So the sustainability is also extended in the onboard offerings of the food, locally sourced. For the buffets, everything is presented in individual portions to minimize food waste. We generally have a vegetarian evening on the menu as well to minimize the meat consumption on board. And we have 3 restaurants on board. The first restaurant, our main dining room, is Anne, which is located on deck 6. And here we serve either buffet for some of the meals or plated meals with a variety of dishes to choose from. And we are also able to accommodate dietary requests such as vegetarian, vegan, and gluten-free and such. Early on in the voyage, there will be an opportunity to meet with the chef or the culinary team and bring up any dietary requirements so they can try their best to accommodate these. Then Fredheim is more of a casual dining experience on board the ship. It is open every day from noon till 9 p.m. For lunch and dinner, as well as a early riser breakfast for those guests that like to have breakfast at an earlier time before our main dining room opens. Here we serve items like burgers, hot dogs, quesadillas, Asian-inspired dishes such as like skewers, steamed buns, as well as some pancakes, some waffles, and a rotating menu there as well. And this is also included for all guests. Then our third and final restaurant that we have on board is Lindstrom. This is our fine dining experience. This is included for guests staying in suites and guests staying in regular cabins. They have the option to dine here for an additional charge for both breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And this is located on deck 9 on the vessel. So this is more like our elevated premium fine dining on board the ship. Then we have a Explorer lounge with a variety of seating configurations. There's some chairs, there's some couches, there's some lounge chairs as you see in the photo right here. And this is where guests can get like drinks throughout the day. We have like a variety of cocktails, beer, wine, non-alcoholic beer and wine, non-alcoholic cocktails, as well as like a variety of coffees and teas and such. And this is usually open until like midnight, depending on like with these expeditions, you will see people don't come on these trips to really like party and stay up late. So you'll find usually by like 11:30, the Explorer lounge is dying down. It's quite quiet in there. But earlier on in the evening, it's a lively experience. We have a variety of like evening programs there as well, such as like short presentations and storytelling from our expedition team. Then our reception is open 24 hours a day. So like any questions, any concerns, our reception team is available to assist. And then this slide right here provides an overview of the different cabin types and suites. So all of our cabins are exterior cabins. We don't have any cabins on the Fridtjof Nansen that you will be traveling on that don't have either windows or a balcony. So the photo that you see in the top left corner is our standard cabin, Norwegian-inspired design, very bright, open cabins. Then the photo right beside that is our next category. Those have a outside balcony. They're located slightly higher on the ship as well. And except for that, they have a very similar setup. Something that's also that I like to point out is in the bathroom, we have heated floors in all of our cabins, which also makes it great at the end of like a day exploring. Your clothes might be a bit wet from like walking in the snow, maybe some snow or rainfall. It's a perfect way to like lay out your clothes on the floor and use the heated floor to dry them. Then the lower photos right here are two different suites that we have. We have a variety of suites in like different sizes and configurations. Some are larger with just a separate like seating area. Some have multiple rooms, and some of the corner suites even come with a private jacuzzi. And we have more information about the different suites on our website if you are eager to learn more about that. So this is a photo of one of our XL suites. So like large windows, small fireplace in here. And this is one of the suites that actually has like a separate living room and a separate bedroom. And then this right here shows one of the corner suites with a wraparound balcony with a jacuzzi on the back of the vessel, providing beautiful views of like the glaciers, icebergs, and beautiful sunsets in Antarctica. Then these are our public jacuzzis located on deck 10, as well as our infinity pool. They are open every day from 7 o'clock in the morning until 10 p.m. And this is a great way to like unwind at the end of the day, enjoy the view. Like even when we are sailing in the evening, you will still have like spectacular views of like glaciers, icebergs, wildlife, and anything there is set to see. So it's a great way to enjoy all of that from the comfort of a jacuzzi. This is another photo of the jacuzzi, so right here, just from a different angle. Then we have a sauna, also located on deck 10, right beside the jacuzzis. And again, like providing spectacular views. You can see the entire left side in this photo right here are floor to ceiling windows. And I've been in the sauna while like we were able to see like icebergs float by. I've been able to spot like humpback whales from the sauna, and it's a great way to just spend some time at the end of the day as well. If you would like to elevate the wellness experience even more, then we have a wellness center on board as well, with different massage therapists on board that provided a variety of treatments ranging from like 25 to 75 minutes. And this can all be booked through the reception on board. So this was a bit of like a general overview of the ship. Now I will go into more the details of the specific itinerary that we are offering for all of you. So it is our highlights of Antarctica expedition, which is a 12-day expedition, and the trip will start in Buenos Aires. With a one-night hotel accommodation. So upon arrival in Buenos Aires, you will be picked up from the airport, transferred to the hotel. You'll spend the night in a hotel in Buenos Aires. The following morning, you will get picked up from the hotel for a transfer to the airport. And then there is a included transfer to get from Buenos Aires to Ushuaia at the southern tip of Argentina, as you can see on the map on the right side right here. Then in Ushuaia, you will have a short like tour of the town by bus with a bit of free time, and then you will have a transfer to the ship. So you will arrive in the ship between 2 and 5 p.m. You will then embark, receive your room keys, and then we will start our way south to Antarctica. You will see on our website that there is no detailed itinerary where it says, okay, like upon arrival in Antarctica, you will first go here, then you will go here. And that's simply because these expeditions, we do have what we call like our plan A, with like the landing sites that we aim to go to. But it is very rare that we can run a full expedition without making any adjustments to the itinerary. Like this is a place with some of the harshest climate in the world. There's like challenges like the wind, sea ice plays a big factor. So the expedition leader on board will adjust the plans to provide everybody with the best possible experience based on the weather conditions that day. So that's why the information on the website is quite generic, saying, okay, we will be traveling along the Antarctic Peninsula, but then every day on board, the expedition team will make a plan for the following day. In the evening, there are 2 plans for tomorrow presentation, where we will then present the plans for the following day. But even then, it is possible that we have to adjust our plans based on the actual observations when we get to the destination. But all of this is part of the adventure. It's part of the experience traveling to such a remote destination. So to give a bit of an overview of the experience, I have another video right
here. This is the closest I'm going to get to experiencing being on a different planet.
It just feels to me like a film set. The scale is absolutely incredible.
Antarctica is so far away, and penguins and icebergs, these are things that most people don't get a chance to experience.
Amazing glaciers, mountains, and I'm just surrounded by it.
The richness of this place when you're here and you see it, I don't think you can actually describe it.
I was expecting a vast emptiness. You begin to realize that it's teeming with life.
There's abundant life down here. I can see humpback whales right out of my window.
Seeing them move, the sound that they make.
Seeing the tails. When they breach, just see that. magnificence in person.
I was not expecting just the richness of the days.
Different wildlife, different geology,
There's been so much happening on each day.
more whales, some trapped icebergs, the volcano,
Getting in and out of boats, climbing mountains.
camping in Antarctica. Just mind blowing.
It's been one of the most jam-packed trips I've been on.
It's been a very visceral trip.
All the senses being touched.
It's the quietest silence I've ever heard. Deafeningly silent.
The education alongside our travel is really amazing.
Ice is the accumulation of snow over thousands of years. And you see these areas in the back, the large icebergs, they will probably survive.
I have been attending science lectures, watching for wildlife with experts.
We've been able to learn about wildlife and sea life.
And they even eat the penguins, so imagine that.
Just come away from this so much more knowledgeable.
The light reflecting off the icebergs is incredible. Like iridescent blue, just below the water.
Even the artists can't describe what kind of blue that is.
It was just magical.
It's a place where man hasn't impacted, something to be prized and cherished and maintained.
This space made me feel how small a human is.
It's overwhelming. We are in Antarctica,
Just pounded with this beauty. This is definitely a once a lifetime trip.
one of those things that I don't think I'll ever forget.
I don't know about all of you, but like every time I see this video, like it still gets me excited. Like even having been to Antarctica like 9 times in the past months, it still gets me excited to go again. And this was actually filmed in February of this year. And this was filmed during the exact expedition that we are offering for all of you as well during our Highlights of Antarctica expedition. So a typical day in Antarctica during our expeditions involves includes like a variety of activities. So we'll start with like a breakfast early in the morning, and then we will start our first landing. So there might be a quick briefing to go over the exact requirements for this specific landing site. And then we will use our Zodiac boats to get a guest from the ship to the landing site. Then at the landing site, sometimes it's an area that's like marked off where you can roam around. Sometimes it's a certain route that we have marked that you can follow. But generally you will have about like an hour at the landing site to like walk around and explore, enjoy the scenery. Many of the landing sites will have penguin colonies. Gentoo, chinstraps, Adelie penguins are the 3 most common species of penguins that we will see on these itineraries. And you'll like people are often like asking when we are on the Drake Pass, so they're like, oh, like do you think we're going to see penguins? Like there's no question about it. Like you will see like thousands of penguins. Like there's so many of them. Sometimes we get to a landing site and just as far as you can see, there's like penguins everywhere, providing like a spectacular sight. Then when you come back on the ship after the landing, there might be a lecture from like any of the scientists. Like in this example, they mention a lecture of about Amundsen and Scott and their race south. Then you can choose any of the restaurants for lunch, whether it's like a casual lunch in Fredheim, or honor the main dining room, or maybe go for like the upscale lunch in the Lindstrom restaurants. Then in the afternoon, we might reposition the ship to a different area nearby, and we can then lower the Zodiacs into the water and go out explore with our Zodiacs. Again, this will be like anywhere from like 45 to 75 minutes on the water, and like being in these Zodiacs, it provides us an opportunity to like get up close to like glaciers, icebergs, wildlife, all while like maintaining like responsible like viewing distances and safety distances. But it provides us an opportunity to get closer to these points of interest. And as mentioned, like the expedition team, it's a very diverse team. But these are also the people that are driving the expedition boats together with the deck team. So it might be that one day you are in a Zodiac driven by a marine scientist that will explain you a lot about the marine science. The following day, you might be Zodiac cruising with the historian or the cultural interpreter that all like shared information based on like their own knowledge and area of expertise, providing you with like a broad knowledge about these places that we travel to. Then late afternoon, when we come back on board, there might be like another lecture. Could be something from like a marine scientist about like how do whales communicate and some sample sounds that they have recorded in their own researches. Then after that, there's time to just like unwind, sit back and relax in the Explorer Lounge, meet with like other travelers and just have a drink, a nice coffee, nice cocktail before dinner, then enjoy a nice dinner in the restaurants. And then in the evening, there might be a tiny talk again. We have a crew band on board that might be performing. Somebody might be presenting their research. And then there's also the plans for tomorrow presentation presented by the expedition team. All of these presentations, this is something that's important to mention as well. Actually, it's all of the presentations, like they take place throughout the day. It might be during a time that you are out exploring, or that you're like, okay, I'm tired, I'm going to take a nap to do something else in the afternoon. If you miss any of these lectures, they are all recorded, and you can watch them from the convenience of your cabin at a later time, anytime throughout the voyage. So then the Zodiac cruising, these are two of my own photos that I took this past season. We will have like a maximum of 10 guests per Zodiac, and then you will go out and explore. And this is a former research station that's now the southernmost post office, and there is a small museum, so we do some cruising there. Beautiful landscape. The mountain that you see in the background here is Snow White, and then there's like the Seven Dwarfs, like the smaller mountains in a ridge beside it. And this is a sheltered bay that's like perfect for cruising. The photo on the right side is Orne Harbor. This is a landing site that involves a bit more of a walk. Some of the landing sites are like flat and easy. Others involve a little bit of a walk up a hill, like this one right here. But then when you get to the top, you're rewarded with a spectacular view of the entire bay, some of the surrounding mountains, as well as a penguin colony that's just on the other side of the ledge right there. So these are our Zodiac cruises, where you will spend like about an hour on the water. The other thing that we use the Zodiacs for are our landings. For the landings, we leave from the ship, and then we go straight to the landing site. And then the expedition team will be there to assist you to get out of the Zodiac. Sometimes they are wet landings, where you will be stepping into the water and then walk to the shore. But you usually in just like I would say like 10 to 20 centimeter, like 4 to 8 inches of water. And we provide you with like mug boots to keep you warm and dry as well for all of the landings. Other landings, you will be able to simply step off the boats and you'll be right on land. And then at the landing site, you will be given a specific time to be back. But then after that, you can just like roam around freely and explore the landing site. At each landing site, we will also have complimentary hiking poles available, like the ones you see in this image on the right side, to help with like stability and balance walking around these areas, as it can be quite slippery in these areas. Because our ships are purposely built for these expeditions, we have a perfect setup for these operations, like the cruising and the landings. So what you see in this photo right here is our expedition launch. This is a platform that we can lower when the ship is in position. And then it's an easy platform where we will have expedition team members there to help you from the tender pits into the Zodiac. And this is very easy to get in and out of the boats. And then at the landing site, this is an example of more of like a dry landing, where we can use small steps to help you in and out of the Zodiacs. depending on the landing site, sometimes we can use these steps. Sometimes you have to swing your legs, sit on the tube, and then swing your legs over into the boat. And then our science and education program that we offer on board, it is also extended to the Zodiacs. So what you see in this photo right here is Chris, who is one of our marine scientists, and he is holding what's called a CTD, which measures the conductivity, temperature, and depth. And this is attached to a long cable. So like when we offer our science boat excursion, this is a optional activity. If you are interested in like working with these scientists and learning more about like the different citizen science projects that we can work on, you can sign up for this. You will then be assigned in different groups, and like 6 to 8 guests will go out together with a marine scientist and use a variety of equipment, including this CTD device that you see here. So what this, like the way this works is the marine scientist will ask 2 people to lower the equipment in the water at a consistent speed, and it will constantly take measurements as it goes deeper and deeper into the water. Then when it's deep enough, we will slowly, again at a consistent speed, pull up the device, and it will make a profile of the temperature, the salinity of the water. And then once the device is back on board, we can pair it with an iPad, and it will instantly show like the different layers with like the water temperature and all of the recordings that the device took. We will then also use a Secchi disc, which is basically just a simple like plain white disc attached to a cable. And again, we will lower that into the water until it gets to the point where we cannot see it anymore. Then we will slowly pull it up where it is right on the line where we can just see it in the water. And that will help us identify the different like amounts of plankton in the water. That information usually matches the information recorded by the CTD, where there is a shift in the temperature of the water in a specific layer, and that will allow us to identify the different plankton layers in the water. All of this is recorded in like citizen science apps where various research organizations can access this data. And then another tool that we use is a plankton net that we drag behind the boat at a slow speed for 10 minutes. And we will then take water samples that we will then take to our science center, and then we can study these samples under the microscopes that you see in the image on the right side right here. So the science boat, it involves experience on the water as well as like hands-on experience in the science center. And then the marine scientist will explain what these measurements tell us about the research that we did. Because as a company, we believe that science should be accessible for everyone. There is, even though it's an optional activity, there is no charge for the science boat program. It's free of charge. The other optional activities that we offer do have a additional cost. For example, the snowshoeing. This was a spectacular trip actually back in January that I was on. And you can see a lot of people took off their jackets and actually wrapped it around their waist because it was such a nice sunny day while we were out snowshoeing there. So we provide you with all of the equipment, and then sometimes we get dropped off at one spot, and we will do a big loop up some like hills through some valleys and then down again to the starting point to end at the same point. Other times we get dropped off at one spot and then we go over a ridge and then go to the other side where we then get picked up again at a landing site. So like different options for the snowshoeing there. But always a spectacular activity. Often we can also see wildlife, including like seals along the shoreline. Then the kayaking. This is one of our most popular excursions. We can take a maximum of 16 guests out on the water with 2 guides, so that we always have a 1-to-8 guest to guide ratio for safety reasons. And this is offered numerous times throughout the trip, depending on weather conditions. Because of like our safety protocols, We can only go out winds up to 7 meters a second, but we always try to offer the kayaking as much as possible to give as many people as possible the opportunity to go out and kayaking. The total excursion is about 3 hours, and about 75 minutes to 90 minutes is spent on the water. The rest is getting set up, getting dressed in all of the gear. You can see in this photo, everybody is wearing like dry suits. We provide all of that equipment, as well as like gloves and pogies to keep your hands warm. Then another activity that we offer is camping. This is offered once every voyage. It is a lottery system, same as the kayaking, where like you can sign up for the camping, and then 30 people will have the opportunity to spend the night camping in Antarctica from about like 8 or 9 p.m. until 7 the following morning. So everybody will receive a 2-person tent. Everybody will be sharing a tent. And then the expedition team will be there to help you set up the tents. And then you will spend a spectacular night out on the ice. I love this activity because often in the middle of the night, you can hear like humpbacks coming by. You can like hear like the calvings of the glacier, and just like the combination of like the absolute silence with then the sounds created by nature, like the calving, the wildlife. It is a like unforgettable experience every time. And then we have our photo boats, where you will go out with our onboard photographer. On every trip, there's obviously opportunities to take photos, but this is for people that are like really into photography, generally people that bring like the bigger SLR cameras, often like multiple lenses, that want to get some expert advice from our onboard photographer, how to get the best shots and spend a little more time in one location. Like sometimes they only go like during the like hour and a half that they're on the water. They might only look at 2 or 3 different points and spend more time there getting like the best possible photos. Then this is example of like what you might experience when you're out on the water. And I mentioned earlier that like the weather plays such a big role in these expeditions. We had this photo is from a different trip, but like I had a similar experience when our original plan was to go to Orna Harbor, like the landing site that I mentioned earlier, where you have to like walk up this hill. And we got there, and it was too windy, and the wind was blowing all of the sea ice into this bay. So we lowered one of the Zodiacs in the water, and I went out in the Zodiac to see if we could access the landing site with 2 of the other expedition team members. And like the ice was so dense and like constantly pushed together that we were unable to access the landing site. So we returned to the ship, lifted the Zodiac back on board, and then we quickly looked at the options that we had in the area and came up with an alternative plan. The alternative that we came up with was Wilhelmina Bay, which is also where this photo here was taken. And we went there, we lowered the Zodiacs in the water. We went out exploring with the guests, and there must have been 40 humpback whales in the area. And like they were coming up to the surface, they were swimming towards us, like every direction you could look, there were humpback whales all around us. And like every guest saw like a large number of humpback whales. We did 3 rounds of cruising there to get everybody for an hour on the water. And one of the rounds, I had 7 people in my boat, and 4 of them were crying and calling it like one of the most beautiful days of their life. And as mentioned early on, like I've been fortunate enough to travel to some of the most amazing destinations in the world. But at this moment, like when there was this many humpback whales around us, I was crying myself about the experience. So like truly like unforgettable experiences. Same here with like the penguins. This is a site that we often see either from the landing site or when we're out cruising, when a number of penguins is like moving by closely and just like propelling themselves out of the water like this. So these are Gen 2 penguins right here, one of the more common species that we will see on this itinerary. This is a photo that I took from the ship, beautiful reflection in the water. And like even when we're on the ship, like there's so much to see all around us. Spectacular views until like late in the evening because of like the long days that we have there as well. often I find that I'm out until like 1, 2 a.m. and just enjoying the views with the constantly changing light conditions. We've recently changed our concept on board a little bit to make it an even more all-inclusive experience. So the following slide right here gives you an overview of what that means. It includes like everything that you would expect with like the term all-inclusive. So like your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It includes the all-inclusive drinks, coffee, tea, and soft drinks all throughout the day. Access to like the sauna, the hot tubs. As a European company, we have a policy where gratuities are included. There's no like mandatory tipping like you see on many of the other cruise lines. Gratuities are always appreciated by the team on board, but there is no mandatory tipping. It's all included in the pricing, and then on top of that, it also includes extras that really set us apart from other operators. It includes our daily like expeditions and activities, excluding like the optional activities that we just spoke about. Everybody will receive a complimentary expedition jacket. In the photos that I shared, you might have noticed that most people were wearing the red jackets. Those are our current expedition jackets, but as part of the rebranding, once we've used up all of our inventory of the red jackets, we will switch to the new expedition jackets, which will be a blue jacket, but everybody will receive a complimentary jacket and a water bottle to use the water filling stations on board. It includes access to and the use of the science center on board the ship, Starlink Wi-Fi. That's also all included. And then the photographer on board, he's not only there to like help photograph the trip, but they are also there to help you take better photos through like the workshops, to answer like questions you might have. But they also take photos of the trip as well as a video, and they will both be shared with you after the voyage, free of charge. All of this is part of our all-inclusive concept that we offer. Looks like I've talked for about an hour now, so this was the presentation so far. So are there any questions about anything that I mentioned or that I shared, or anything that I maybe didn't cover that you would like to know more about?
Bob, you kept us like so much entertained, and I think like every slide was like, I want to sign up right now. And I think like Jennifer have a couple questions. So the first one that I saw, it's that well, that's something like curious also for me. Like, what happens if you want to go to the bathroom when you are camping?
So because of the IATO regulations, there's limited things that we can bring on board, like the International Association of Antarctic Tour Operators. It's basically like a self-regulated association by the industry to minimize our impact in the areas where we go to, and also like set like operating standards for all of the outfitters to follow. So we will bring a emergency toilet, but we ask everyone to like minimize it and only use it for like number 2 if possible, number 1 if possible. And one of the expedition team members, and this is always like the one person will be assigned in the expedition team, like one of the expedition team will have the will be the toilet master, and we'll be digging a hole where we have 2 portable toilets that we set up right there. So there are emergency facilities there, but we ask everybody to keep it to a minimum. And because of these regulations, we also cannot bring any food ashore. So like people will eat when they come on board, they can bring a water bottle, but that's the only thing that we can bring to avoid that we can like spill any food and leave anything that might attract like wildlife and such.
Okay, that sounds great. And the jackets, you know, are friendly with any kind of size. Do you have like plus size so everyone can use them?
Yeah, we have jackets ranging from 2XS to 5XL.
Okay, sounds great. All
So
right.
like a wide variety of sizes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sounds good. And I think like if I can add something else to, you know, to this team up with Hurtigruten and Wanderful. It's that, the rates that you are giving us are for single, they are for double room. So we, as our community, we know that we have like a lot of travel solo people. So we are giving the opportunity to, if you want to go, and we know that this is like kind of course, an expensive trip, but an unforgettable adventure and once in the lifetime. So we can pair you with someone else, with another like travel solo, so that way we can respect the price for a double room. So that way you can also come. And what else? So also before the trip, we are having like 2 pre-calls. So before going to the expedition, we are getting to know like all people that is coming with Wanderful. So that way you also kind of know the people, you start making those connections, and once that you are on the ship, on this trip, so kind of we are all as a friends if you are traveling solo. So it's, I think, always great to share this experience with more people, and more if you get to know them better. And we are going to be supporting you along the way here, from Wanderful, and of course from Hurtigruten as well. So I don't know if you have any other questions, Jen. Oh, she asked like for the suits, or like all the equipment that is going to be necessary for the expeditions or for the landings, like all are like friendly for all kind of sizes.
Yes, like for the landings, the only thing that we provide are like the jackets that will be like yours to keep after the expedition, and then like the mug boots. The boots we have ranging in size from a European 32, which I think is a US 2.5, up until a European size 50, which would be a US 14. So from like small sizes to large sizes, and then most of the sizes also come in a regular and white calf as well. So like a wide variety of sizes. And then like things like the pants and like other layers, everybody just brings their own gear. For the kayaking, the dry suits that we provide, they range in size from small to 2XL.
Okay. All right. So I hope that that helps you, Jennifer. And I think that other important thing for people that will be watching this recording, that the way that we are working for booking a spot. So if you go to the link that I just posted on the conversation, so you can go through that one and just scroll down and maybe you want to review one more time the itinerary. We of course have the link for you to check Hurtigruten web page if you have more questions, or you want to keep investigating more about this company and all the trips that they do. But then there's a link where it says like ready to book, and it's going to bring you to a Google Doc form where you need to fill it out with all the information that it is asking you. And then I'll take that information, and we are going to put you in contact with our Hurtigruten agent, and then we will take from there. And to make sure that you have your spot safe, so we will require a 25% deposit in order to to confirm your booking. But then that will keep your spot safe, and you will have before it's the departure, like 120 days prior departure, your your full payment should be done. So you will have like at least a year and some more other days to entire complete your payment. And also if for by any reason then you cannot make this trip, that we hope that it's not the case, but if you need to cancel, we can it's going to be refundable as soon as you cancel 120 days prior departure. All right. And then also you can just write me at pam@sheswonderful.com if you have any, further questions about the trip and, how all the cancellation policy will work, if, we always want to make, sure about those details. And you also can check there in the page and in the booking form, the rooms that we are offering you. So we have, in fact, let me see very quickly here. We have the RR category that, of course, you can do like a twin rate, like a twin bed, separate beds, or like just one bed, or the XT one, or the ME, that would be like the suite one. So I think the fanciest one, the one that everyone wants to be there. But yeah, so you can check out the webpage of Wanderful, and of course also Hurtigruten. This trip, it's open to all genders, women and all allies of women of Wanderful. So yeah, one more time, thank you so much, Bob, for all the explanation about the amazing company, the great job that you're doing there. I think that it really covered everything. And let me see if we have like more here before closing out. Okay. All right. So I think that it's all covered for today. Bob, if I'll keep asking you question if there's more here. But yeah, I think that
if there's any other questions.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I just trying to remember if I got some other questions. Oh, yeah. So by any chance, I remember I got one via email. One person was asking me that if kind of what time in the 19, at the end of the trip, kind of we are coming back to Buenos Aires, because I think that she was kind of scared about returning home.
Okay. It's what we usually recommend is for people to take either an evening flight on the 19th or a flight the following morning. A lot of the guests seem to fly out on the evening flight, but one thing to keep in mind is Ushuaia can get very windy. They get very strong katabatic winds that come down the mountains. And the airport is right on the coast. Like you can actually see the planes land when we are with the ship in port. So it's not unusual that flights might be slightly delayed because of weather conditions. If there's like a short period where they have these like katabatic winds, so it's better to get either like a late evening flight or spend an extra night in Buenos Aires and fly the following day. But like definitely, I wouldn't fly out before like 6 p.m. on the 19th. I would definitely get a flight after that. Our booking agents will have more detailed information about that. But like from what I've seen, I would say fly at least after 6 p.m. But it's best to reconfirm that with a booking agent at the time of booking.
Yeah, and have ever happened that there's cancellations in Ushuaia when it's time to come back to Buenos Aires, or it's just kind of
not I haven't like I've been with the company for 2.5 years. I haven't seen it happen at all. Like these things in an extreme situation, it is always like a possibility, but it's not something that like would happen very frequently. It's not something I would be like too concerned about.
Okay, sounds good. All right, well then I let you go. Caroline, Jennifer as well. Thank you so much one more time. And people that will be watching the recording again, anything else, please write us and we will be happy and make sure your questions are answered and you feel like completely ready for a sign up for this amazing trip. So thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, thank you for your time, everyone, and looking forward to see you on board.
All right, bye.